I'm bringing back memories that I wished I could get rid of. You know what I mean? This has been a hobby. If you just had been here to listen to all this and see some of it, then you would have known just what it was. But we lost everything.
We lost everything. You own the land.
Yeah, we own our land. All of them.
And no one ever paid you any money for this land.
No.
You lost it.
Took it.
Before the fire, before the lies and rumors, before the mobs came, Rosewood was a quaint black self-sustaining and thriving community in Levy County, Florida. Founded in 1847, the town had a population of approximately 200, mostly African American families, and a lone white family, the Wrights, who owned the last remaining store located within the township. By the early 1900s, Rosewood, Florida had become a predominantly black town. It had families, homes, churches, a school, and black-owned businesses. Rosewood was legacy. It was independence. During a time when black Americans were still fighting to survive the violence and wicked nature of Jim Crow, Rosewood represented something dangerous to white supremacy. Blacks owning property, building community, and living with dignity. And that dignity would soon make Rosewood a target. The story of Rosewood's destruction began on January 1st, 1923, in the nearby town of Sumner, Florida. A white woman named Fannie Taylor claimed she had been attacked and raped by a black man. We now know the truth was that Fannie Taylor was never attacked or raped by a black man. But the truth, as we now know, is that Fannie Taylor was involved in a quarrel with a white man whom she was having an extramarital affair with at the time. And to contain the secret of her extramarital affair, she would allege she had been attacked and raped by a black man. But in the Jim Crow South, truth was often the first casualty. The accusation spread fast, and before evidence could matter, before facts could be weighed, the machinery of racial terror had already begun to move. A black man named Jesse Hunter became the accused fugitive, which the hunt was now on for by angry white men seeking their own treacherous form of justice. Sheriff Elias Walker would assemble a group of men to search for this Jesse Hunter. But what began as a search quickly became something darker. Bloodhounds were brought in. Armed white men moved through the woods, roads, and rural homes near Rosewood. Fear began to spread through the black community. In that time and place, an accusation against one black man could easily become a sentence against every black man within reach. The people of Rosewood knew what history had taught them, that when the mob starts hunting, it does not always stop with the person it claims to be looking for. The angry mob and bloodhounds would eventually lead the search party to the home of Aaron Carrier, a black man who lived near Rosewood. The mob accused Carrier of helping Jesse Hunter. He was seized and dragged from his home. The threat was now clear. Carrier was in danger of being lynched. Sheriff Walker intervened between the angry mob and Carrier and placed Carrier in protective custody, saving his life in that moment. But the mob had already crossed the line. Rosewood was no longer just near the investigation. Rosewood had become part of the accusation. And once the mob turned towards Rosewood, the town's fate began to change. The angry mob would then turn its attention to Sam Carter, a black blacksmith. Carter had been riding in his wagon. The men accused him of using that wagon to help Jesse Hunter escape. They wanted answers. They wanted someone to blame. Sam Carter was treacherously tortured by the angry and drunken white mob for information. Then the mob would kill Sam Carter by lynching him that night. His lynching sent a message far beyond one man. It told the people of Rosewood that law had given way to mob rule. It told them that innocence would not protect them. It told them that the violence was spreading, and the hunt was no longer for justice, nor was it ever for justice, but the hunt was for blood. This angry mob wanted blood. As the days passed, rumors grew. The mob, now having been on the hunt for days, began focusing on a man by the name of Sylvester Carrier, Aaron Carrier's cousin. Stories spread that Sylvester had helped hide Jesse Hunter, or that he had spoken in defense of the accused man. Whether true or not, the rumor was enough. Sylvester Carrier was well known around town as a man who would defend himself and his family. His mother, Sarah Carrier, was also inside of the home. By January 4th, the tension surrounding the Carrier house had reached a breaking point. The mob was no longer just searching. It was preparing for confrontation that it would bring to the front door of the Carrier home, which housed not only Sylvester Carrier, but again also his mother, Sarah Carrier, and his children and siblings and other family members. On the night of January 4th, 1923, an angry mob of white armed men came to the Carrier home. Inside were the Carrier family seeking shelter and frightened of what may become from the mob. Two of the drunken members of this angry mob would walk upon the porch of the Carrier house and proceed to attempt to kick in the front door of the home of the Carriers. That would be met with gunshots fired by Sylvester Carrier in self-defense in response to the intrusion of their home by the two white members of the angry mob. The two white men would be killed, and in response, this same night, not only would Sylvester Carrier be killed, but his mother, a matriarch of the community, Sarah Carrier, would be killed by the mob of white men as well. Others inside the home fled for their lives. Afterward, the mob would burn down the Carrier house. This was the turning point. From that moment forward, Rosewood was not merely under threat. Rosewood was under attack. When the smoke cleared from the Carrier home, Rosewood entered a new stage of terror. The deaths of Sylvester and Sarah Carrier intensified the rage of the mob. More white men from surrounding towns began to gather. The violence no longer centered on one accusation or one supposed fugitive. Now, the entire black community of Rosewood was charged as guilty. The homes, the families, the churches, the businesses, the land itself, all of it became vulnerable. The question was no longer whether the mob will come back. The question was how much of Rosewood, both the people and the property, would be left after it did. Between January 5th and January 7th of 1923, the mob overwhelmingly grew. Reports described more than 200 white men descending on Rosewood. They came armed. They came angry. They came with the force of numbers and the confidence that the law would not stop them. Rosewood's residents were outnumbered and surrounded. The mob moved through the community, destroying property and terrorizing anyone who remained. What had begun with one accusation had become collective punishment against an entire black town. This was not justice. This was racial violence, and Rosewood was being erased in real time. And then came the destruction. Homes were burned to the ground. Churches were burned to the ground. Businesses burned to the ground. The structures that held Rosewood together were destroyed one by one. This was the taking of Rosewood. Not only the taking of buildings, but the taking of safety, the taking of land, the taking of community, the taking of a future that black families had worked to build and leave to their children. The black people of Rosewood who survived this initial onslaught had no choice but to run. By the time the mob was done, every black-owned structure in Rosewood had been destroyed, with the exception of one structure, the home and store of the Wright family, the only white-owned property in Rosewood at the time. And the town that once represented black independence was left in mere ashes. The survivors of Rosewood's onslaught of terror fled into the surrounding swamps. The families moved through darkness, water, trees, and fear. Some carried children. Some carried only what they could hold in their hands. Others carried nothing but the knowledge that they could never safely return to Rosewood. Imagine leaving behind your house, your land, your church, your family photographs, your business, your entire world, not because of a natural disaster, not because of war declared by a government, but because a mob, an angry white mob, decided your community had no right to exist. For Rosewood survivors, escape meant life, but survival came with a wound that would last generations. When the rage of the mob had ceased, the town of Rosewood was gone. The official records were incomplete. Newspaper reporting was inconsistent. The number of people killed remains uncertain. At least 6 African Americans were killed, but some estimates said the number may have been much higher, as high as 40 black men and women and children killed in Rosewood. No one was convicted for murder, not a soul. No one was convicted for arson, not a soul. The physical town was destroyed. Then came the second destruction, silence. Out of fear, survivors did not speak openly about Rosewood for decades to come. The world moved on, but the people who escaped never forgot. For many survivors, Rosewood became a story to carry quietly. They changed towns. They built new lives. They raised children and grandchildren. But the memory remained. The fear was not imaginary. In the South, telling the truth about racial violence could bring danger. Silence became a form of protection, but silence also buried the history. For decades, Rosewood was almost erased from public memory. A prosperous black town had been burned to the ground, its people scattered, and its story left out of the history books. But truth has a way of surviving beneath the ashes. In 1982, investigative reporter Gary Moore began uncovering the story. Working for the St. Petersburg Times, Moore noticed something strange. Historical records show black communities in areas that, decades later, appeared almost entirely white. That question led him to Rosewood. He would find survivors. He found witnesses. He found memories that had been locked away for nearly 60 years. Then the story began to return to public view. In 1983, 60 Minutes aired a program on Rosewood interviewing witnesses who experienced the madness of Rosewood back in 1923 and who would, for the first time, give their own first-hand accounts of what happened in Rosewood in 1923. Researchers later produced a detailed historical report. The silence was finally breaking. In 1994, the state of Florida passed a compensation bill for the survivors and descendants of Rosewood. The state legislature agreed to pay $2.1 million in reparations, including money for descendants whose family property had been destroyed, and scholarships for African American youth. It was one of the most significant reparation moments in American history. but no amount of money could restore the town that was burned. No legislative bill could give the survivors back the childhoods, homes, land, and peace that was taken from them. What is the cost of trauma? What price does one pay for such? Trauma which affected an entire community, erased off of the map. Rosewood lives now as a warning and a witness. A town can be burned, but the truth, once recovered, can still rise from the ashes. $2.1 million for lynchings, burned homes, churches, and businesses, for being terrorized, for having an entire community decimated, and stealing the legacy of the descendants of those who own land there, thereby thwarting the efforts of blacks to accumulate generational wealth, merely one generation removed from the horrors which slavery invoked upon these people's ancestors. 2.1 million is an insult, but truth be told, no amount of money will close the wounds inflicted upon the people of Rosewood in 1923, which would stem from a false account of Fannie Taylor. What could have been of Rosewood today had it not been for the events of 1923? What could Rosewood be today? The pain of what happened and what could have been lives on, but the telling of the story of the people of Rosewood is how we restore their dignity, to make sure they are never forgotten, that through you, through me, their story lives on forever. So tell the story of Rosewood. Tell what happened here and who it happened to make sure that it never happens again. Tell the story of the taking of Rosewood.